mobilizing your cadres in front of uh, Tariq Jia is not an issue. It doesn't matter how many people come. At the end of the day, I think we have to remember two aspects apart from what I had said earlier. One aspect is Jamati Islami is working very hard on the ground, and they are basically campaigning door to door, and the kind of resources which they have and the kind of position they have taken with respect to India, I would say that it's very difficult for the BNP in a way to match the organizational capacity of the Jamaat Islami. The second part of it is a practical issue. The Awami League has to make a choice whether they would support a BNP government or a Jamaat Islami led government. And from Awami League's perspective, I would say that for them, and they believe that supporting the Jamaat Islami is a better option because Jamaat Islami doesn't have the acceptability with India, with the international community, and nobody wants to see Bangladesh to be ruled by the Jamaat Islami. So, a large number of Awami League people at the last moment will be actually voting for the Jamaat Islami so
Right.
that direct confrontation could take place. And finally, I think we have to bear in mind is that there are certain people who do not want BNP to be in power. Because if they wanted the BNP to be in power, then the elections would have been held in the first 6 months itself. And Dr. Yunus would have acted as a caretaker government. And he didn't do that. He went on to create debates, reform the constitution, and he is also going to hold a referendum on the July Charter, which also in a way limit the powers of the BNP. So there's somebody who doesn't want BNP to come back to power, and so that's why I think this is not after tomorrow. I mean, I think the debates will be completely different in Bangladesh, and especially when we see the next rally of the Jamaat Islami
Right.
on 3rd of January.
All right, Mr. Chakma, I take your point. This is where the political arithmetic stands currently in Bangladesh. Let me also bring in Prashant Kumar Shrill on this, who is in fact present in Dhaka. Now, Mr. Shrill, you're present in Dhaka. First of all, tell me about the political situation with regard to this massive return. We are looking at thousands gathering for this rally. How significant is this return in terms of political developments in the country?
Yes, this isn't one-sided statement, one kind of that. That isn't some people, that doesn't much people come from the several districts from Bangladesh. They have been joined from a bus, truck, and everything. But this isn't point. But that this is a political vacuum situation after the 5th August. So the whole scenario of Bangladesh that has changed. If you think that if you do your election, you have based on your cadre base party. So you have a mate. If you control your ballot, if you control your ballot box, if you control your vote center, then you can be win. In Bangladesh situation, we've seen that after uh, 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 previous 1 year, we haven't seen that political situation and scenario totally collapsed. There is some mob culture is imposed in the society because the social structure is fully damaged. Here we see that the mob culture and mob situation. If you want to control your voting system, it is democratic way. It is very tough and impossible in present time. If you just the one way you have to clear that you have to clear the system of anarchy system. If you endorse anarchy, if you are in anarchist, and if you done your control your vote manipulation, and you can win. Otherwise, it's very much impossible to be free to run the situation, control the situation. You know that I already imposed uh, added the statement that the Jamaat is now in the peak of their power. You know that they have in peak of the position. Jamaat vote already 20 to 25%, or rather the less than 20%, but they have think that they have in the power. So the main rival between the BMP and Jamaat is not a very polarized issue. There isn't so much brutal and so much hostile situation after the Tariq Jia's present time. So the time will be say is not from statement is not from in a single sentence. It takes a time and it takes an observation. Then we can conclude what is the make an impact that is just coming from Bangladesh? Is it positive? Is it negative? Or it is in very much, very much, it's to call in paradoxical from the Tariq Jia's career, political career. You know that Tariq Jia's absence of 17 years from the political boundary. So how we can control from the Bangladesh present political situation, household situation, the society is totally collapsed. The society is vandalization mode. The society's people are in very aggressive way. How is possible to complete this very tough for the situation? So this is my observation.
All right, I take your point, Mr. Kumar Shil. Let me bring in Major General Rajan Kochar on this. Rajan Kochar, I was talking to Mr. Shil, and he said that we'll have to see and we'll have to wait to see if this is a positive or a negative step. I want to ask you, when a person like this returns who's been out of touch with the political developments on the ground after 17 years, does he have it in himself to take on Jamaat at this point, or is the return being overhyped at this point?
A very interesting question here, Ishita. See, whenever we plan any important operation or strategy, time and space is very important.
Right.
So in my considered opinion, I feel that Tarique Rahman has come too late.
Okay.
He has hardly any time left now because we are almost at the end of December.
Right, and you have elections in February.
Yeah, so I don't think logically I would say that, because you have to mobilize your own cadres as a first dissension within the party, and then you have to take on the electorate, and the people hardly actually know you because you have been out of the scene for such a long time. So and BNP has never been a very great popular option for the people of Bangladesh. We have seen it. How BNP ruled Bangladesh, a totally corrupt organization, and the way they have actually organized, and that was the reason they lost the elections also. So I think, and my friend, a learned friend from I think Bangladesh, is absolutely spot on when he says that Jamaat is going to stand a very good chance. If he is giving a figure of 26% now, this figure is likely to increase as we come near the elections. A second important aspect in favor of Jamaat is that Muhammad Yunus is also batting for Jamaat.
Right.
And as a matter of fact, a new party, a National Citizens Party, we are not even discussing about that. That party is also emerging, and the efforts of Muhammad Yunus government is to subdue this party from emerging. What we have seen is that one of the prominent leaders of this party have been recently killed, and also there is a move to suppress the independents. Also, we saw how Hadi was killed, and his brother came out openly,
right, blaming the government,
that Muhammad Yunus was involved. So we are seeing a great amount of interference in this elections by the Muhammad Yunus government in projecting Jamaat-e-Islami as the likely choice, which I think he is going to succeed.
All right, you say right now the situation is tilted in favor of Jamaat. Let me bring in Mr. Chakma on this. You know, Major General raised a very important point. Not only he has to consolidate his position politically in the country, but also he has to cement his position within the party, because there seems to be a lot of factions within BNP as well.
Well, it's not only the factions in the BNP. He doesn't have the support of powerful military in the country.
Right.
Because
that's also an important player.
When the interim government in 2008 and 2009 was run, then the Bangladesh military officials, they had arrested 1,73,000 people belonging to the BNP, and they had tortured some of these arrested, including Tariq Rahman himself, who was tortured and taken to Singapore, and from there he went to London. And at that point of time, BNP was basically a criminal organization running the country, involved in corruption, arms trafficking. Their cadres were doing. So the BNP doesn't have a reputation in that sense. And Tarique Jia is, you could say, he could be equivalent of, Bangladesh's Pappu kind of a thing. He doesn't have the oratory skill. He doesn't have control over the party. So I think he's going to face tremendous amount of difficulties. And I completely agree with General Kochar that, he has come too late to influence anything, and he believes that he could influence the election by holding this one particular rally. I think what we have to bear in mind is that the deputy home advisor has already resigned, and the BNP is still trying to negotiate whether the current home advisor shall continue, because one of the demands of the protester is the resignation of the home advisor. So by 3rd January, we will see whether actually the current home advisor is changed. So everything I would say is in favor of Jamaat Islami, because the entire administration of our a huge number of advisors, they believe in -2 solutions. They do not want the Army League to come to power. They also do not want the BNP to come to power. They had made that attempt in 2008 and 2009. They tried to prop up at that point of time Muhammad Yunus as the prime minister or the chief of the interim government. They were not able to do that. And the current operation is also part of that. They want -2 solution where the families of Hasina as well as families of Jia must not be running the country, and it should be run by the independent organizations. So it's going to be very, very difficult for Tarique Jia, irrespective of the number of people they have pulled in or the number of people participate today in Dhaka, because a large number of people in Bangladesh also believe that they should not be ruled only by these two families.
All right, we're looking at the political center of power steering away from the Zia family. In fact, visuals on your screen, viewers, are right from Dhaka. As we cover this, we're also getting you straight live visuals from Dhaka, where it has been a rousing welcome for Tarique Rahman, who's returned to the country after nearly 17 years in exile. He's set to lead BNP in the coming elections, and you can see thousands have gathered to get a glimpse of this political leader who could shift the political dynamics in the country. Remember, he comes at a point when there is political vacuum. Currently, the country is being led by an interim regime led by Muhammad Yunus, and he does not have a grip on the situation at this point. Islamists have taken over. Awami League is banned in the upcoming elections, so some hope resting on BNP at this point, and he's the man who's going to lead the party in the upcoming elections. Live visuals are coming to you straight from Dhaka, where people have gathered to welcome the acting chairman of BNP, Tarique Rahman. Heavy security has also been deployed. In fact, remember, there have been reports of potential threats as well to his life. So therefore, security arrangements have been made. And as you can see, there's heavy security, in fact, surrounding his convoy as he makes his way to the venue. Right now, in the red bus, in fact, can be seen waving on to the people who've gathered to get a glimpse of him as he's now returned to the country nearly after 17 years. So, of course, viewers, the questions remain whether can he turn the tide in his favor at this point, because a lot of experts say it is already too late for him to make a change. Visuals are coming straight to you from Dhaka, where Tarique Rahman has now returned to the country after nearly 17 years. In fact, we're looking at a gathering of nearly 5 million people. So it's been a rousing welcome for the leader. The son of former Prime Minister Khaleda Zia was also there to welcome him earlier. Now, Major General Rajan Kochar continues to stay with me on this. Major General, I want to ask you, although both of you agree on the fact that currently it is not, the numbers are not in his favor, But do you think the floating voters and the Awami League voters, do you think he can bank upon their votes? Because clearly they would not want Islamists to run the country at this point. So can that vote be shifted to BNP?
Uh, you see, you're right. Ishita, there can be two scenarios in this. The first scenario is that the Awami League, large number of voters tend to boycott this election because there would be a call from the Awami League for them also not to cast their votes in protest because this is going to be a sham election because in a democracy you have to give equal opportunities to all the political players which possibly in Bangladesh is not being given. So that is one aspect. There would be a large number of voters also who still would be voting. So I think their vote would gravitate somewhat towards BNP because uh, it is the lesser evil, I will say that for them, in the sense that Jamaat, I don't think they align with the viewpoint of Jamaat, and possibly that was the reason when Awami League was in power, this party was banned and all its leaders were put into jail. As a matter of fact, this Jamaat-e-Islami has got links with the ISIS and and international terrorist organizations, and there were as many as 53 of them which were released who had committed heinous crimes and who were part of this international terrorist syndicate. These 53 of them were released by Muhammad Yunus. So you can see this kind of realignment is possible in elections. And another very important aspect, we need to highlight here is the money power. Because in any election, you see the voter base of Bangladesh, you will see a large number of people are from the lower strata of society. So they do get influenced by money and freebies kind of a thing. So today, as I mentioned earlier, Jamaat Islami has got a tremendous amount of funds. Funds are flowing from the foreign players. I would not like to name them on your channel, but there is a definite interest of a certain foreign power to see a Jamaat coming into power. So that
We are looking at.
shifts focus shifts to a regime change also, and they want this kind of alignment because it has got an alignment with Pakistan's ISI. And you can take my hint, the power which is trying to bring out this alignment so that Pakistan and Bangladesh are totally controlled by them, as far as the governance is concerned, because today Pakistan is totally controlled by the USA, and there is a strong possibility that Bangladesh would also like to be brought under that umbrella. And that is why Jamaat Islami, right from its inception, has had very, very close links with Pakistan ISI. And I have got one fear. I want to actually bring it on your channel, that these terrorist camps, which were finished by Sheikh Hasina from 2009 onwards, they are likely to spring back and be a great threat to India, because I mentioned to you the border management is not
Right.
as tight as Jammu and Kashmir. So you will find, including General Munir, making a very strong statement that the next attack from India will be from the northeast. So this nexus is very strong, and we should not take it lightly. And that is why three military garrisons have been raised on the Bangladesh border, and the fourth one has come up in Mizoram, because we can't take this situation very, very lightly, especially the vulnerability we have on the chicken neck area. I think all these happening is in Bangladesh is not to the liking of India's security environment, I would say that. And I think the government is not going to make any strong statement against any personality in the election, because they are going to wait and watch. They are going to make a statement that we desire a free and a fair election in Bangladesh. And I'm sure that whichever party will come to power after the election, the government is going to open a communication with them.
All right, I think those are very legitimate points, Major General, that you've raised. We have a terror threat, we have threats of these terror groups getting encouraged, and of course, another threat coming in from India's northeast. But because you mentioned lesser evil and foreign policy, I have to discuss this. Of course, there's a question whether the elections would be free and fair or not. We are also looking at sham elections. But let's just suppose that, Tarique Rahman does come to power. In that case, with the kind of statement he's made that he's going to, maintain equidistant from Pakistan and from India. So are we looking at then bending of ties, maybe, Islamists getting a grip in the country? Are we looking at better ties then?
Okay, this is of course a hypothetical question, but
Right.
But if we see this kind of scenario emerging, and if we actually discuss this kind of a scenario, I think this is the best option as far as India is concerned.
Okay.
Because with Jamaat, it would be very, very difficult to establish a communication for India, considering the anti-Hindu sentiments in Bangladesh, which Jamaat actually presents itself with. So, a BNP would be a very great option for India. I think the first step India would take is recognize this diplomatically. BNP's coming into power, congratulate the leader, because I think that would be the first step in trying to amend those ties and try to move ahead, because there are number of projects today from India into Bangladesh. I can talk about power generation. I can talk about water sharing. The Ganges water treaty is due for renewal in the month of April. So that also becomes a very important leverage as far as India is concerned, because 54 rivers from India flow into Bangladesh, and they are all downstream rivers. So we also have a Tista water treaty also pending with Bangladesh, and the Teen Biga corridor, we have already come to an agreement with Bangladesh, where we have given access to 2 of their districts. So now it becomes very important for India once you negotiate with the BNP, because that will be the best option. We have leverages with us.
All right. I'm sorry, Major General, I'm running out of time here. But as you say, BNP is the best bet India can make right now. Really appreciate you joining us. It is always a pleasure to speak to you. And viewers, with that, we come to the end of this bulletin. Thank you so much for tuning in, and stay tuned to News 9.
This is India's #1 news network, and you're watching News 9, English news as it should be.
क्वालिटी पे इतना कॉन्फिडेंस, इसलिए बिरला ओपस एश्योरेंस। 1 साल में पेंट को कुछ भी हुआ तो पेंटिंग वापस करके देंगे। रजिस्टर करो birlaopus.com पर।
विगत 2 वर्षों में राजस्थान की भजनलाल सरकार की उपलब्धियां, किसानों का भरोसा मजबूत। किसान सम्मान निधि से 76 लाख से अधिक किसानों को 10,400 करोड़ रुपए से अधिक की सीधी सहायता, 44,558 करोड़ रुपए की बिजली सब्सिडी और 44,067 करोड़ रुपए से अधिक ब्याज मुक्त फसल ऋण। सुशासन का नया प्रतिमान।
Welcome to the new episode of Season 2 Malaysia.
This is India's #1 news network, and you're watching News9, English news as it should be.
And now, welcome viewers. The top focus at this hour: a historic welcome for BNP's acting chairman Tarique Rahman in Bangladesh. Now, the country's main opposition party, in fact, is putting up a vast show of support for its acting chairman Tarique Rahman, as he's now returned to the country after nearly 17 years in exile. His mother Khalida Zia, who's not been keeping well, in fact, was there to welcome him. Remember, he's returned to the country after 17 years with his wife and the daughter. And it is a rousing welcome. BNP's top political officials, Khalida Zia, all were there to welcome Tarique Rahman. In fact, we're looking at an event which will gather up to 5 million people. In fact, we're getting you live visuals right now from Dhaka, where Tarique Rahman has returned to the country after nearly 17 years in exile. It's a rousing welcome for him. Remember, it comes just ahead of elections in February. He's going to lead the poll campaign for BNP in the country. And joining me on this are Prashant Kumar Shil, political analyst, joining us right from Dhaka. We also have Swasth Chakma, Director, Rights and Risk Analysis Group, and Major General Rajan Kocha, Defence and Geopolitical Expert. Thank you to all of you for joining us on News9. Now, let me begin with Mr. Chakma here. Mr. Chakma, we're looking at a situation where there is a political vacuum in the country. You have elections coming up in February. Awami League has been banned, and there is going to be a close context between Jamaat and BNP. So, amid all of that, how do you see his return?
Well, I mean, his return is very symbolic as far as the BNP is concerned. But I have my own doubts if whether they will be able to influence, the electorate.
Okay.
Because the track record of Tarique Jia is himself is not so credible, and he has a credibility crisis in Bangladesh. It's another thing that Hasina's government is not there, Awami League is not there, so they can, take certain advantage of that. I think what we have to bear in mind is that in Bangladesh, the people are so much politically mobilized that mobilizing your cadres in front of Tarique Jia is not an issue. It doesn't matter how many people come. At the end of the day, I think we have to remember two aspects, apart from what I had said earlier. One aspect is Jamaat-e-Islami is working very hard on the ground, and they are basically campaigning door to door, and the kind of resources which they have and the kind of position they have taken with respect to India, I would say that it's very difficult for the BNP in a way to match the organizational capacity of the Jamaat-e-Islami. The second part of it is a practical issue. The Awami League has to make a choice whether they would support a BNP government or a Jamaat-e-Islami-led government. And from Awami League's perspective, I would say that for them, and they believe that supporting the Jamaat-e-Islami is a better option, because Jamaat-e-Islami doesn't have the acceptability with India, with the international community, and nobody wants to see Bangladesh to be ruled by the Jamaat-e-Islami. So a large number of Awami League people at the last moment will be actually voting for the Jamaat-e-Islami,
Right.
so that direct confrontation could take place. And finally, I think we have to bear in mind is that there are certain people who do not want BNP to be in power, because if they wanted the BNP to be in power, then the elections would have been held in the first 6 months itself, and Dr. Yunus would have acted as a caretaker government, and he didn't do that. He went on to, create debates, reform the constitution, and he is also going to hold a referendum on the July Charter, which also, in a way, limit the powers of the BNP. So there is somebody who doesn't want BNP to come back to power, and so that's why I think this is not after tomorrow. I mean, I think the debates will be completely different in Bangladesh, and especially when we see the next rally of the Jamaat-e-Islami on 3rd of January.
All right, Mr. Chakma, I take your point. This is where the political arithmetic stands currently in Bangladesh. Let me also bring in Prashant Kumar Shil on this, who is in fact present in Dhaka. Now, Mr. Shill, you're present in Dhaka. First of all, tell me about the political situation with regard to this massive return. We are looking at thousands gathering for this rally. How significant is this return in terms of political developments in the country?